welcome back to the RockStop. I know a lot of you guys have seen the original It with all the talk of the remake, but I have Brandon Crane on the phone line right now, who played young Ben Hanscom. How's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for calling in and doing this. You were in the original. I mean, this is the miniseries that really put the horrifying clown, I think, in the mainstream. You must have got recognized for years after that movie came out.
I did. I finally had to grow a beard just to stop that from happening.
Right on.
No, it's good. Yeah. No, it's amazing after all these years to be a part of something that still has some relevance. It is amazing. You consider it's been like 27 years. People still hate clowns. I think, and I dare say the movie, I think, enjoyed the success that it did because of so many people that remember the miniseries.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it traumatized a lot of kids. I mean, and I guess that was kind of the point. I mean, it's supposed to be scary. I think a lot of people, kind of miss that point. Like, oh, was it geared toward kids? Was it, should it not have been? But the movie's going to have most of an impact when you're a kid. So I mean, it only makes sense.
Exactly.
Right. So I mean,
and I think the clown. Just the brilliance of Stephen King's writing. The clown, something so seductive. Something so innocent to be so evil. It is the epitome of evil.
Oh yeah, and it was portrayed quite brilliantly by Tim Curry. Now, I mean, I have not seen the remake just yet, and I got a lot of people telling me I should go see it.
You should.
I mean, I probably should. I have such an appreciation for that first film, though, that I'm not sure I'm going to be able to go in with this open mind.
No, you got to let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. And I mean that. I mean, I honestly, I was nervous. I had to have a couple of drinks before I went to go see the movie because, number one, I'm 41. I'm not, 173 years old. I'm not ready to be made classic yet. Right. So I needed a little liquid courage before I went into the movie theater. But I love that movie so much.
Really?
It captured a lot of the great things about, the first part of the movie, the relationship with the kids. But I think because it was all about the kids, there was no flashbacks, there was nothing. And because it was, it took place in my generation, the 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, now I am old. Okay, I admit it. The dialogue and all that stuff, I was laughing more than I was afraid. A couple of really great jump scares in that film, but I loved it. I think it was like what Stand By Me should have been.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, it was great.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So I'll probably check it out. And
let it go. It's okay.
I'm going to have to let it go and just check that movie out. Now, is that the first? They're doing a second one, too, right, with just the adult versions?
Right.
Yeah. So,
correct.
I mean, it's definitely different with your movie. I mean, being a miniseries airing on TV. As opposed to a theatrical release like this movie got, which it did incredible. I mean, it broke records as far as I've heard.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's amazing.
I think horror movies are doing better at the box office than pretty much any other genre at the moment. It's some people. I mean, yes, it's that time of year, but also it's just I think people can relate and just want to sometimes get scared and and not really be in any danger, I guess. Right.
There's that. There's that saying that a story can only be told in so many ways, or something to that effect. I think with genre films like horror and science fiction, those are the only genres left to tell something different.
Yeah,
we've seen all the romantic comedies. I think we can stomach. I think we've pretty much covered a good amount of history.
Yeah.
Let's just bring on the gore and the aliens.
Absolutely. Yeah. So tell me about the audition process for when you audition for it. I mean, a lot of kids in that film. I mean, it must have been.
They looked at hundreds of kids. I know that for a fact, and I just remember it being. I remember going in for the audition and feeling like I did pretty good. But a lot of time passed. And usually when that happens, you just write it off. You're like, I guess that wasn't what they were looking for.
Yeah.
Which was too bad because I had read the book before I even heard about the audition. So I felt like, man, if I could get in here, this is perfect for me. It's serendipity. But so some time passed, and then I ended up getting a call to do a callback. So I showed up at night, did a callback. I think Jim Green, the producer, was there with Tommy Lee Wallace. We did that callback. Really thought I did good. He gave us, some direction. Read with a couple of kids, and I, did my best to follow the direction and impress these guys.
Yeah.
And then more time passed, and I was like, okay, no, I would have heard by now. They've got to be shooting any minute. I guess it's over.
Wow.
And some time came by, and then I got a call to come in on a Saturday to read with a bunch of other kids, and there weren't any other bands, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is awesome. Surely there has to be some other people. So I asked one of the casting associates, hey, and this is totally unorthodox, right? Do this, and they usually don't divulge anything. But
right.
I said, where are the other bands? And this guy said, I think it's just you. We're looking at a couple kids in Vancouver and a couple kids in Texas, but I think it's going to be you. Like, nobody says that.
Wow, that must have blown
your mind.
And then
again, even more time passed, and I thought, this guy is full of it. Whatever. Why would you get the hopes up of a kid? That's not cool. But then and then we got the call.
Wow.
And it was a whirlwind at that point. It's like, hey, we're going to send you a plane ticket. You're going to go to Vancouver, and you're going to start shooting next week.
Wow. So after a long kind of courting process, it all came together pretty quick, and you were filming just like that. Yeah, it's like, we've been dating for 10 years, and now we're in a rush to get married. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. So the other kids, I mean, on set, you get along with them all? I mean, did you guys have some fun during some in between takes, things like that? Yeah, there were times. I know we were probably hard to manage. Uh-huh. And I've heard Tommy Lee Wallace saying something to that effect that we were a bunch of rambunctious kids, but we got pretty tight. Yeah, obviously just us. We didn't really get to hang out with Jared Blankard or Drum or Gabe, the bullies. Right. But we pretty much stayed together. It was great, and of course, spending a lot of time together on and off set. Cohabitating the same hotel. Yeah. Well, kids are kids. We're going to start ripping on each other's moms and, yeah, stuff kids do. Yeah. I mean, that's only natural. So, but other than that, we were great. We got along great. Yeah. That's cool. I heard somewhere that Tommy Lee Wallace, the director of this film, wanted you and your adult counterparts to kind of spend some time with each other and kind of learn mannerisms, things like that, I guess. And so your adult counterpart was, of course, the late, great John Ritter. John Ritter. Yeah. Yes, sir. So, you hung out with him and. Yeah, it was cool. When I got that plane ticket and we came up to Vancouver, I thought we were going to start shooting. And they were shooting out front of Beverly's house. Uh-huh. The adults were shooting out front of Beverly's house. And John Ritter was there, and Tommy introduced us, and we spent a little bit of time together. Of all the kids and adult, pairs together, we looked the least alike, right? So I think it was a good practice for us to get together and find some sort of common mannerisms, things that we could do together. Yeah. That would help tie us together. I know that Ben Heller had just mentioned in an interview, he played young Stan, that he and Richard Mazer had done the same thing. I think that was a great idea. So we settled on the fingernail biting, and I haven't quit to this day. Thanks a lot, John Ritter. Great idea. That was John Ritter's idea, huh? Right. But that was an interesting experience, because as soon as we got done hanging out, there was a wardrobe trailer. Went in the wardrobe trailer, did fittings for costumes. And then Tommy Lee Wallace actually supervised my haircut, which was a recreation of a haircut that he had when he was my age. Oh, really? Okay. And so I'm thinking, oh, wow, we're really getting into this. Yeah. And then we get a call from the production assistant letting us know that our flight has been booked back to L.A. And I thought, what? I thought we were here to do this. Yeah, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Oh. Yeah. So hair grows. So that was the most expensive haircut I've ever had. Wow. Well, hey, I guess that's the pitfalls of the industry at times. You don't know. Oh, yeah. Oh, the excess. Yeah, right. Yeah, well, yeah, listen, I think the movie, definitely lives up today. That's why, the remake, I've had some, reservations, but like you said, just, let it go, and, go check it out. As far as the clown, Pennywise, the new movie, the original movie, how do the clowns compare? I mean, they look entirely different. But you've seen both films. Give us a little, and of course you were in the original film, so you can give us some insight on this.
No, I think the Skarsgård Pennywise is kind of kooky.
Uh-huh.
In the way Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka was different than Gene Wilder's.
That's a good point. Yeah.
There's this kind of juvenile vulnerability in there as well, and playfulness in that one, which in its own right is scary.
Sure.
But the Tim Curry one is definitely more old world.
Right.
Like, I believe that thing has been around for 500 years.
Exactly. Right.
Because he's almost vaudevillian.
Exactly.
With a lot of his bits, especially in the library.
Right.
His physical comedy is totally vaudevillian, and I'm, that speaks to a clown, a performer.
Yep.
Where I didn't get much of that from Skarsgård, but I loved his portrayal anyway.
Right. I like your comparison to Willy Wonka. I think that's pretty accurate from just some of the clips I've seen of the new movie and how he's more of a quirky and childlike. I think that's a pretty good comparison. So
and it's kind of tilted,
Right.
I think he's tilted from Tim Curry's portrayal, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you, the original Tim Curry's portrayal was so menacing. I mean, that I think the first time he was on screen with right behind the sheets, how he goes from that non-smile into like that evil look was
absolutely.
It's incredible. I mean, that stayed with me for years.
Me as well. That is, if I had to, pick the scariest moment for me watching the movie, I would say it's behind the sheet. The sheet blows, and he's giggling and smiling and waving, and then the sheet covers his face, and then opens back up again, and he's ready to eat. I mean, that to me, without the teeth and without the blood and all that stuff, that is just
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was.
I'm with you there.
Definitely a very menacing character. So tell me some of your favorite scenes from the film. I mean, that you really enjoyed doing, things like that.
Well, the first thing I got to shoot was when we climbed down the ladder into the sewer and we pick up the pom-pom. So that was the very first thing that we got to shoot. So you jump right into the fire, right?
Yeah, right.
And a lot of the exposition stuff we shot later.
Right.
But I would say my favorite scene was beating up on my cousin who was reading my poem.
In the bedroom. Very good stuff.
And the rock fight. The rock fight was great.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so many memorable.
And then shooting in the movie theater.
Yeah.
That was super cool.
I mean,
there's a moment. In fact, there's a moment where Bev's going from Bill to Ben, because she's terrified. And I kind of sink into my chair when she snuggles up to me.
I mean, I love that subtle stuff. There's so much going on. Of course, it's a horror film going on, but there's also sort of a love triangle with you and Jonathan Brandis' character and Emily Perkins, and it's done very well. So.
It had its coming of age moments.
Yeah. I think that's why it stays so relevant. And speaking of some of the scenes, the movie theater, the rock throwing, that scene, what scene do you think, like, cause we used to talk about it as kids when we were watching the movie, like, what kid had the scariest encounter with the clown? And, of course, I think of Emily Perkins', character with the bathroom stuff, all the blood. Then you had Seth Green with him turning into a werewolf and stuff. So, I mean, that was just like this type of conversations, I guess, that would happen after viewing the film.
I think it would be a tie. Well, okay. If you count Georgie dying
Yeah.
You know, as Bill's encounter.
Right.
You know, that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, that's horrible, losing your little brother. But for the other encounters, I would say Stan's encounter in our film.
Yes.
Where he's literally trapped because the door won't open.
I think I agree with you. Yeah.
And this mummy is just kind of slowly creeping down, and he's, you know, freaking out. He's, of all of us, probably the least equipped to deal with these things because he just doesn't believe this stuff is empirically possible.
Exactly.
And then there's the psychological thing with Bev.
Yeah.
You know, her dad not seeing the blood.
Right.
And her having to say it's a spider just to get him in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's covered in blood. He doesn't see it. You know, that's kind of bizarre. And I absolutely loved that happening in the new film.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sophia Lillis is, she's an amazing actress.
Yeah, absolutely. So, those are definitely some standout scenes there. And so you know, it being just days away from Halloween, what are your Halloween staples? What do you like to watch around this time of year? Yeah, I mean, you're a big horror movie fan?
You know, I do like my horror, but in limited doses.
Right.
Yeah, the last movie that I saw that I really, really enjoyed was Mama.
Yes, that was a good one, yeah.
And that was crazy. But actually, I think, you know, it was the last one.
Oh, right, well, yeah.
If for me, I would have to say Halloween staples are, you know, Blaze and the Monster Machines and whatever insipid, you know, programs are on for my girls.
Yeah.
We don't really get to have any Halloween movie time right now.
Yeah.
But some people may find, you know, Blaze and the Monster Machines horrifying.
Sure. I mean, there's scenes in kids' movies that are sometimes equivalent to horror films. I mean,
oh, sure.
Yeah. Sure. Something pops out of nowhere and you're like, this could really be a horror movie. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for the My Little Pony. Do you know who have you ever heard of the Treehouse Friends?
No.
Have you seen those?
I don't.
Awesome little gory cartoons, shorts. You know, just chock full of violence with cute little bunnies and things. I had some DVDs from a while back, and I tried to get my oldest daughter to watch those. And she's like, "Dad, these are so stupid." You know, so I'm getting scared. Let's say I do really get into the horror genre, you know, and want to start, you know, screening some movies in my house. I'm afraid my daughter is just going to be like, "Dad, this is dumb."
She's going to trash them. Everybody's
Dad,
a critic.
Watching this, Dad, I can see the wires.
Yeah. I mean, stuff that we, you know, would probably ignore. A lot of these kids today, they a lot more critical than I guess we were.
Yeah, I would love to get her into, you know, seeing the Evil Dead movies, which I own. I would love to just blow the dust off those and have her watch them if I didn't think she would, you know, tear them apart.
That's true. Yeah, that's a great series too. I mean,
that book looks so fake.
You know, you gotta kind of suspend disbelief at times. But
yeah.
It's a great series anyway. The Evil Dead series. I mean, is that one of your favorite, I guess, a franchise?
Absolutely, one of my favorite franchises. I mean, of anything. I mean, right up there with Indiana Jones.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell. You know, one of the few people I would be starstruck to meet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, you do conventions?
Well, I'm just going to start. I was originally going to come to the Days of the Dead that's happening next month in Schaumburg, but I'm going to do Atlanta instead in February. And I was going to do one in November, or actually, no, not November, this weekend. But the promoter may or may not have lost his house in the Santa Rosa fires in Northern California.
Wow.
So obviously that's not nice. But
yeah,
I'm going to start doing some conventions. I don't know why I haven't done them before. I think it took the popularity of the new movie to sort of see people come out of the woodwork that really liked the miniseries. I honestly thought that it was, you know, apart from the occasional, you know, sci-fi airing, that it was done. You know, I had no idea there were so many people that liked it so much.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting to go to these things and connect with these people and
I mean,
talk about it.
And then you might run into Bruce Campbell at one of these. So
That would be awesome.
Absolutely. You mentioned DVDs earlier. It's a funny quirk on the original It DVD. It's a 2-sided disc. I don't know if you've seen this, but it doesn't really tell you what side is A or B, or first or second side. And I've had some people say how weird that is, and because there's nothing really separating. I mean, you might put in part 2 and just think that's how the movie begins.
Right. And I actually wonder if that would work.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean,
I really wonder if there's enough exposition in the beginning of the second to start the film that way. I'm going to have to try that.
Yeah, it's definitely something to check out. I guess if you've seen the movie so many times, you might as well try something new.
I guess that's kind of an oops moment, right? Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry. Labels were too expensive. Sorry. That's funny. I didn't even think about that. I think I have one. It's unwrapped.
Oh, yeah.
I think I bought it just for, keepsake tchotchkes.
Yeah, you might as well.
That's the one thing I did that I didn't keep any props or any clothes from.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So there's these people that have come out ever since, they've been talking about the new movie. A lot of great photos have come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a documentary that should be coming out in spring next year that's called The Story of Pennywise, or the story of, Pennywise, the story of it, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've gotten interviews from, just about everybody who had anything to do with it. And Bart Mixon, he was the key makeup designer, the guy who created Pennywise, he had something like 4 hours of behind-the-scenes footage.
Wow.
That hasn't ever been seen before.
Oh, man, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, and photos, and, there's things that there are things that I vaguely remember about the process.
Uh-huh.
And then there's things that I, really remember. But to see some of these things coming out, I'm like, wow, I totally remember now. I can remember to the day what it was like being there.
Wow,
It's just all these memories flood back.
That's so cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I love that kind of stuff after you've seen something for so many years and then something completely new. They've done that with when they release director's cuts of things. And for example, like Superman 2 is one of my favorite superhero movies. And there was this other version that they released probably 10 years ago now, but it was like totally new scenes in the movie that was shot at that time. And it was it blew me away.
Right.
Yeah, so I love that kind of stuff.
You get to rediscover a long-lost friend.
Yeah, right.
Look at it that way.
Yeah, very true. So I do not want to let you go before we talk about your time on the classic sitcom The Wonder Years. Doug Porter.
Oh, The Wonder Years. Yeah.
One of my favorite shows, and you were great on it. Now, my question is, when you first got the role on that show, was that were you going to be a series regular at the time, or was it supposed to be a one-off?
No, I came in on that Coda episode.
Yeah.
And I think I was Doug Baker.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Was I Doug Baker? Yeah, I think I was Doug Baker. I think that's what I was named. So we did that episode, and then a few weeks later, I got a call to audition and I thought must be a mistake, but I got a call to audition for the Walkout episode.
Oh, yeah.
Like student council number 3 or something like that,
Right.
A huge breakout role. And anyway, of course, it had something to do with the snack machines,
well,
whatever. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm over it.
Okay.
And I think maybe a few months after that, I got called to come in and read for another character, Doug Porter.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, wait a second. I was already a Doug.
Yeah.
Why can't I just come back and be Doug? But anyway, I had to fight for it, and I got it. And it was for that Odd Man Out episode where, Kevin and Paul kind of break up.
Yeah.
And find a new friend.
Right.
And I managed to stay. I think that was the writer, Todd Langen. He who also wrote the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie and a couple other things. I think he made that character into something that had legs.
Yeah.
I had maybe purpose for the future. So
that's awesome.
The
next
3 years, I was pretty busy.
I really enjoyed that character a lot, and I thought it added, like you said. You had Fred Savage with the Paul Pfeiffer character, the best friends, of course, but you needed some other friends in there that were.
Yeah. I mean, I had other friends. I had a couple friends that were my close friends.
Sure.
And then I had, the friends on the side that were kind of fun in their own way and very expendable. Like Doug Porter.
Well, that's definitely how Kevin looked at him, I guess, at times.
Totally.
Yeah.
We all did.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Never. Yeah, I don't think about it often, but I guess the Doug Porter character kind of make you look back on your life a little bit.
No, it was that was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
Really fun experience.
Yeah, great show. And your kids, do you ever show that to your kids? And
oh yeah, no, they don't care. Yeah, they don't care. Oh. My daughters are 5 and 11, and they just don't care. And I think I love that.
Yeah.
Part of me loves that. Part of me is like, hey girls, hey, look what's on TV right now.
Uh-huh.
You guys want to watch this? And they're like, no.
No,
man. Put on Netflix. There's Powerpuff Girls or something.
Well,
or, Dad, you probably have this on DVD anyway. Don't worry about it.
I'm sure you do.
I don't think they're being mean. I just think that it doesn't mean anything. I didn't raise them in that environment where, I was surrounded by the industry,
Yeah. So they have no.
I've been out of that for a while, so they don't have any. I mean, they don't care. They think it's kind of cool, but they're really not that interested, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, if you're ever flipping through the channel, I'm sure you see yourself pop up every now and again. I mean, in fact, the other night I was flipping through Nick at Night, saw you on Full House.
Oh yeah, my finest work. No, but that's cool. I mean, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It breaks up the monotony of the day.
Right.
When you flip through the channels and you see something that you did so many years ago, and you're like, well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, certainly. I think so. And so what do you like to do now that you stepped away from Hollywood a little bit there? And so what?
Yeah, when I was about 18, I wanted to be a cop.
Uh-huh.
Right, that didn't really work out.
Well,
I was about 18, and I needed a couple extra units in class, so I volunteered to work crew for this theatrical production at school, and I was like, "Wow, this is awesome."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had very little exposure to theater, and I thought, "Wow, maybe if I study theater and I get my education in theater, and then I can come back and be an actor and crush it,
Mm-hmm.
So I studied and I did tons of plays, and I managed to continue to work until I was about 30. So about 10 or 11 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Doing mostly plays and musicals, occasional commercials, things like that, but mostly just theater. And what was great about that is if I wasn't on stage in a show, I had also learned, the theatrical lighting and stuff. So I would work as a freelance lighting designer for plays and concerts. And so I managed to stay busy in the world of theater.
That's cool.
And then my wife and I just decided, she worked in entertainment advertising, and we just decided, let's leave the rat race.
Yeah.
So we skipped town.
Well, I mean, if the opportunity ever came up to, go back to another, I was wondering if they were going to bring back some of the kids from the original It to cameo in the remake here. I mean,
that would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be cool, but I'm confident that Andy is probably going to keep the universes separate.
Yeah.
It doesn't need any old school credibility, from us, or really any trivia. I mean, as cool as that would be,
right? I think it would be more for the old school fans, the fans of the original.
Yeah,
yeah. But
I mean, it would be cool, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Right, I gotcha.
And I've been talking to the director, Andy, for off and on about a year now, and no mention of that has happened, and that's okay.
Yeah, sure. So as we wind down here, let me just ask you, some of your favorite Stephen King works besides It.
Favorite Stephen King's works besides it? I think the main one would be The Shining, of course.
Yeah.
And I really loved the film Misery. I haven't read the book, but I loved the film.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's a great one.
And I think his television and his, that work is also incredibly compelling. I mean, the thing he did with James Franco last year, 11/12/63 or whatever it was.
Right.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was a great show. I mean, that was something told only the way he could tell.
Yep.
But I'm not, a massive. I'm not really a massive reader. Number one, and number two, I pick my battles because they're so time consuming with kids.
Yeah.
I am not the person that the NEA is going to put up to speak on behalf of reading.
Yeah, listen, I'm not either. I mean, most of the stuff I know from Stephen King are like you said, watching the movies.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I mean, when I was, just before I'd heard that they were going to do the miniseries, like I said before, my neighbor Paul had given me the book because it had just been out for a couple of years,
Yeah.
And so I read that and I was like, wow, so this is what reading's like. But it was fun. It was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, but the thought of ripping into pages
Yeah.
I guess I just have a short attention span.
Yeah. I relate with that. It's very time consuming.
What are we talking about again?
Right on. I hear you. So this is the RockStop. You a rock music fan?
I do like me some rock.
Yeah.
I like the old school rock. I appreciated, being put on hold to Van Halen.
I thought you might like that.
Yeah. No, we definitely like that.
Cool.
What I don't miss about that era would be the spandex.
Yeah.
No. And, there was this cool thing about, I think it was the Days of the Dead in Chicago, or in Schaumburg. Dee Snider's going to be there.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was stoked when I thought I was going to be going to that thing. I was like, oh my God, dude, Dee Snider. But anyway.
Well, yeah. He was Twisted Sister, terrific band.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think they're still rocking today. So I mean,
they are.
Yeah, Twisted Sister, definitely a staple in pop culture. And so you'll be hitting some cons here coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know probably nothing until February, but I'll do Atlanta, Days of the Dead in Atlanta, first week of February, and then the end of the month of February, I'll be in the UK. All right. In Birmingham. That'll be cool.
Very cool. So where could people find you on Twitter and
Yeah, on Twitter it's Brandon Crane.
Pretty
simple.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah, Brandon Crane.
All right.
And Facebook, Instagram is Brandon Crane TV. I know it sounds pretentious, but it's the only way. There's a lot of Brandon Cranes.
Yeah.
And I thought TV was better than like 8 numbers.
Right.
I
hear that.
it.
Yeah. And
then my website's brandoncrane.com. Also straightforward.
Yep.
And there's it's a new thing. I work mostly as a web developer now, so it's kind of my little showpiece.
Right. Cool.
But it's I'm going to start putting some updates up there. It's great to know that there's people interested in what I'm up to after all these years.
Yeah, that's very cool. Social media is a good way to stay in touch with your fans. Are you pretty active on it?
I am.
Yeah.
I am a social media slut. I will say. I mean, I enjoy it. It's fun. Twitter's an awesome news delivery system. Facebook's great for seeing pictures of my friends' ugly kids, and seeing what some politicians are up to.
Right.
Etc. Yeah, no, it's good. And the Whiskey Club, of course, Whiskey Club. Get to see ads for that every 10 swipes. Anyway, they know me too well.
That stuff's always kind of weird when they're watching everything we do, but
oh yeah,
we gotta stay connected somehow.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, all right, man. I really appreciate you calling in and talking about your time in the entertainment industry. It's been a lot of fun.
No, great talking with you.
All right, so
thanks for reaching out.
Definitely. So that's Brandon Crane. Thanks again, man.
Bye, everyone.